afternoon, everybody. My name's Anthony. If you're joining me for the first time, let me explain what I'm doing. So, during 2020, when everybody was quarantined, I decided to rewatch The Sopranos for, the billionth time because it's such an awesome show. Well, in the process, I was watching and I realized, this show's really about food. So I decided I'm gonna go ahead and just cook through the series. I went ahead and I got myself a copy of the Soprano Family Cookbook. And so for about the last month or so, I've been cooking through it. We've done sfogliatelle, Sunday gravy, marinara, eggplant parmesan, and baked ziti. This week, Minestrone Soup is on the menu. If you are going through the series like I am, we're still on the pilot, season 1, episode 1. And there's this very brief moment where Carmela goes to her pantry and she pulls money out of a can of Campbell's Minestrone Soup. Carmela, being the great cook that she is, I can't imagine her just using Minestrone Soup out of a can. But, when you cook as much as she does, maybe sometimes you just want to do something easy, right? That's what this recipe is. The recipe in the book, out of page 118, is actually called Melfi's Minestrone, referring to Dr. Melfi. So let's get started. The ingredients for the week: salt for the water, a small type of pasta, pastine. Pastine really is just kind of any kind of small pasta. The book recommends orzo. The store I was at earlier, they didn't have any orzo, so I got fideo, which is essentially just cut spaghetti. You can see it's essentially just a spaghetti noodle, a little less than an inch long. And then here's where I think the book is cheating. It calls for a can of vegetable soup. I'm not sponsored by anybody yet, so I'm not trying to advertise for free. So I went ahead and took the label off, but it's any type of vegetable soup. I grabbed the one that was on sale. They also say some cut up ham and some Parmigiano Reggiano freshly grated. So let's get started. Water's boiling, let's go. I already added salt for flavor. We're gonna take the pastine and we're gonna add it to a small saucepan. So we're gonna make sure that cooks through. Not gonna take a whole lot of time. It's a very small amount and it's a very small pasta. Maybe 5 minutes or so. So while I have that going on the back burner, let me start a larger pot on the front burner, and we're gonna take the can of vegetable soup. By the way, I didn't do my whole normal intro. I'm not a professional chef. I'm just a guy who likes to have fun in the kitchen. Obviously, I like food. There's no hiding that. But I like to just play around with recipes. I have worked in a kitchen as a line cook, as a waiter, several positions. Never as a chef, though. I've cooked some of these recipes before, but never the Soprano version. So a couple weeks ago, I did marinara. And I've cooked marinara a bunch of times, but I never did Soprano marinara. So that came out different than what I'm used to. One thing that I've been trying to keep in mind lately is you should always make sure that the pot is ready for the food that you're going to be putting in. What I mean by that is a very common mistake that cooks make is they'll add food to a pot before the pot is ready for it, whether that is putting pasta to a pot that the water's not boiling, adding eggs to a skillet where it's not properly heated. It really changes the chemistry going on when you're cooking. Sometimes I think how handy it would be to have multiple arms while cooking. Alright, time to check the pastine. Is it ready? If it was a full-length spaghetti noodle, I would say that's still a little too al dente, but considering its size and how little of a portion we're using, I'm gonna go ahead and call that good. So we can turn the heat off from the backside. Still leaving the front on medium. Now, I know you're thinking, man, I don't have a strainer that small. That's okay. I'm not gonna strain it. I'm just going to pour out most of the water, and I'm gonna actually leave a little bit of the water down there. I'm sorry, I should really have a camera over here. We're gonna add the ham and the pastine into the main soup. And so that water that you boiled the smaller pasta with is gonna have some flavor to it that you're adding into the larger portion. And then we add the ham. The only thing better than pork is pork wrapped in bacon. So I like the fact that they're adding ham into this. And just stir it up and get it all mixed together. And you can see it looks a lot fuller of a soup than it looked when it was just vegetable soup. I knew we had one of these. Let me go ahead and spoon some of this out. As you can see, it's still steaming. So with it still steaming, you take some freshly grated Parmigiano Reggiano, throw it in there. And of course, I never seem to have a spoon in hand. And we're just going to stir it in, let the cheese melt, and go ahead and serve while it's still warm. This is melt my mouth warm, so I'm gonna let it cool down just a little bit so I don't hurt myself. Well, I definitely like it. That's a for sure. That's not a question here. Actually, let me add some. Fresh basil leaf. Oh, so good. Take the stem out. I'm not saying that that's a huge, like, earth-shaking ingredient, but when it's fresh, it does make a big difference. Definitely gives it a more Italian taste to it. If you're a beginning cook and you're watching these videos trying to learn, best advice I have for you is just go for it. Like, cooking is supposed to be fun. I have a great time doing it. I like to play around with recipes. You know what I'm gonna say, as much as I'm enjoying this book, I don't know, I feel really 50-50 about this one. It's not a bad recipe. It was quick, it was easy, but the main base ingredient was a can of pre-made soup. If you're gonna start with pre-made soup, why not just skip the middleman and go straight to buying a can of minestrone? I think a little later on, I'm gonna revisit minestrone. I'm gonna look up an authentic recipe that's a little bit more from scratch and try it again. Definitely happy with this. But when you start off with a canned soup as a base, and you're making soup, I don't know. I kind of feel like they cheated on this one. But like I said at the beginning, I'm just experimenting and trying them out. So thank you for participating and watching and joining me in this. I don't have any crazy huge revelation for you, unfortunately, but we're gonna have more recipes. This is just season 1, episode 1 of The Sopranos. They have 6 or 7 seasons, depending on how you look at it. A lot of recipes left to do, and yeah, like and subscribe. Try out your own version of Minestrone. Let me know in the comments below. Email me, tonyb.travels@gmail.com. Hit me up on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all the social medias. And again, get your own copy of the Soprano Family Cookbook. Have a great weekend. Hopefully see you next Sunday.